Hello everybody and welcome back to Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson, and today we are here at my crystal cottage in the garden area called the Inner Garden. And behind me you can see a bush full of Thuja, occidentalis, Brabant, and on the ground a grass mixture with lots of wild plants in it as well. Anyway, this inner garden is very plain and simple at the moment with the bush and the grass. I have created some borders on the edge and at the front here. So I've been thinking a lot about this area, and behind me I left this open expanse because I really wanted to get a greenhouse in here at some point, but I just don't know when that's going to be. And I'm just quite fed up of looking at this area with the bush and the grass patch. So I want to get a border put in here for now until maybe later on we figure out if we're going to get this greenhouse here or not, or if this greenhouse is going to go into another area of the garden. But at some point I really do need a greenhouse. But for now I want this garden area to have borders around the edge to give some more interest. So I have a few different types of plants here already, and I'm going to plot in some photos just to show you what's been going on and the transformation over the last year. And then I'll just take you along for the ride as I build up my no-dig border behind me here. So that basically means I am going to design the shape I want by putting cardboard on the ground, and then I'm going to fill up the border with twigs and sticks and leaves and all sorts of stuff. Then I'm going to fill it up with fresh soil, and then I'm going to plant in some plants, and this is just going to be amazing. I love creating new borders, and just when I think I don't have space for another border, I figure out somewhere else to put a border. And this isn't the only one I've got on my mind at the moment. I have others. So basically I'm just going to get on with this. I need to move the bench that's over there out of the way, and the pots and so forth. And this border here is going to have a wooden edge for now. So I'm going to go out and find some tree trunks, smaller tree trunks or whatever I have to mark out the border around where I put the cardboard. And then I can just cut out the edge of the cardboard and shape it as I want it to be. So let me get on with this. So I've decided I still want to have my bench in the corner, so I'm going to design my border around the bench as I've done with the other benches in my garden. So we get plants growing around it and it feels like it's in a kind of cozy little cove. I think that's going to give a really nice effect. So what I'm going to do is just bring it forward a bit so I can see where I want to place it later. Now I need to move the bench out of the way for a minute because I need to get all the cardboard down first. So right, it looks like I have a huge pile of junk behind me, but this is absolutely fantastic because when you make a no-dig bed, the first thing you need is to get all of your old cardboard. Never ever throw away cardboard if you're thinking of doing no-dig borders, because you need to put a layer of cardboard down to suppress all the grass and the wild plants that are growing up in the ground already. And by putting cardboard down, you will give enough time for those plants to die back when you've put the soil and everything else you're going to be putting in the border to build up your soil mass. And it's a great way of recycling a lot of waste. You don't have to go and throw it away, you don't have to burn it or anything like that. Just make sure that you try and take off as much of the plastic, sellotape and so forth that's on there, so that doesn't get into the soil, because it won't degrade, it will just sit in the soil. A couple of things you're going to need to shape your border is some kind of saw to saw around your cardboard, and some scissors to shape as well. And that will just help you get the cardboard in the border as you go along. So I am just going to get on with this now. I feel like I've become quite a master at collecting cardboard. I really don't want to throw anything away now. And not just for the borders here, I can also use cardboard to start up our wood burner during the winter and for many other different things. So it does take a little bit of time to get all the plastic off these pieces of cardboard, but it will be well worth it in the end. Simple things can just be so satisfying sometimes. I'm really enjoying this. So I'm getting there. I just need to get myself some more cardboard. But as you can see, I'm managing to cover this ground with what I had. I have a lot more, so I'll go and get that and carry on. This is just looking like a wonderful mess that's going to be fantastic.
So basically this is how far I've got with placing out the cardboard on the floor, and you just need to do this rough and make sure you cover up as many of the holes as possible. And I'm not exactly sure how I want to shape the border right now, but this is helping me to figure it out. So now I need to put my bench in place and see how I'm going to form this. So I'm going to go out and get myself some pieces of wood now to create the border shape. Now I've placed my bench on the cardboard as well, because I've decided that I'm going to put a load of leaves and mulch and so forth around under the bench to keep it in the border. That will make it easier for me to be able to trim in front of the border and not have to move the bench every time to get underneath it. Just let it be part of the whole border. So right, I've got all my wood into place around the edge and the design that I want to have for now. All I need to do now is go and chop off the excess cardboard around the edge and then start filling the border with all sorts of material. And I want to put common comfrey leaves, some branches in there, stems, twigs, all sorts, and then soil and mix it all together. And then when I finish with that, I'll plant some things in and I will put leaf mold on the top to keep the moisture in the soil. So here we go, you can see the border shape. I just need to cut out the excess cardboard and place it inside. And that's how I have my shape with the bench in the border. And at some point I might go and find myself some higher pieces of wood to put around the edge, but these are absolutely perfect for now because it's just to give the shape. So this is looking really good. Make sure that when you trim the edges that the cardboard is still underneath the wood so that you don't have weeds coming up on the inside of the border. So one more quick look at the border. I've just cut some of the cardboard off the edge so you can see the shape a lot more now already and how big the border is. Absolutely fabulous. So now that the whole outline is sorted out, I am just going to fill it up with twigs and sticks and everything else, as I said, to get this mounded up. So here I whiz backwards and forward with all these different pieces of organic material, and I use my gardening tools to break all the larger pieces up so that I'll be able to lay them down flat on the border. So look at that, reduced a lot more already, very quick and easy, and material to make a lovely soil, and that's for sure. So now I've got this quite low down compared to what it was before. It's still quite high up, and of course these thicker twigs and sticks and stems are going to take a long time to break down and become soil, and that's good. So now I've been out and bought myself 24 sacks of soil, 50 litres in each sack, because I need soil to start this bed off. I don't have enough to put in the border. And in the field behind me we have some horses, so I've been able to collect a couple of buckets of manure and I've spread some out already in the border. I'm going to put some soil in the border. I've put some green leaves in there a little bit, and then I'll put a bit more manure, and then I will put more of my soil on top. But before I do the second layer of soil, I'm actually going to trim the edge of my Thuja occidentalis Brabant as well and get some of that green mass into my border as green manure as well. So this takes quite a bit of time to complete, and it's quite heavy, and all of the soil in the sacks was quite hard, so it had to be pressed down and broken before I could lay it out. So some of the soil is in. I'm now going to go and prune back some of the bush behind here. Another job that I'd been meaning to do for a while, so now I'm finally getting these Thuja pruned. And now I have 11 more sacks of soil to finish off this border now for the first time. It's quite satisfying seeing this plain piece of grass here turning into this wonderful border. Oh, I can't wait for next year now. So right, this is my last sack of soil to get in this border, and after this, I'm going to have to water in the soil so that it sinks down in and around all of these twigs and stems and all sorts to get it more level. So that is all of my soil layering done. So now I am ready to give this a good watering through, and then I am going to plant common comfrey because I want to use it as a green manure, and it can be cut back 3 to 4 times a year to be used as green manure, laying it on top of the soil around trees and bushes or in your borders, mixing it into the soil or putting it in water to make a nice green liquid fertilizer. And they grow up, they have lovely purple flowers on that all the insects, especially bees, love it. So I will keep these because inside I want to have a couple of nice bushes and some other plants going on. So let me get on with the watering. There's always something so satisfying about watering in the garden. So this is my border finished with the soil before I do my planting. And I just want to show you closer up. Look how fabulous it looks. The soil looks wonderful. You can hardly see that I've put a load of twigs underneath. The bench in the border is absolutely perfect. There's plenty of space to be planting out all the way around the bench and everywhere. I haven't put the border too close to the bottoms of the Thuja occidentalis Brabant. It's at the front of them, so they have plenty of space to breathe and grow still. And well, I just think this has been a wonderful success. Gives a little bit of an extra character to the garden. Look at the shape. Really nice. So if we go further back, you can see I have the outer edge here, the pathway into West Side Garden, and then the new border here that leads to the entrance to the botanical garden. So now I am ready to plant in some plants. I have these wonderful geraniums here. This is Geranium ROZANNE Gerwat, and this gets lots of lovely purple flowers on it. Look at these. You can see here, and they get flowers from around June time all the way until first frost, which will probably be October, and then they will die back. But these can be split, so I'm going to take each one of these bundles and split them and put them along the whole front of this border, because they are going to bush out like this and look absolutely gorgeous straight away next year. So when I do it, they're going to pout, so what I'll have to do is split them, plant them. Maybe I'll show you what they look like before I prune them back, then I'll prune them back, and then just lay all of this green mass on top of the soil as an extra layer of green manure. So I'm just going to lay them on the grass and cut them into bits. This should work out fine. There are so many heads and so many roots. Oh, got lots of different plants coming off here. So I basically want to get all of my root balls first and see how many plants I can get all together, so I can spread them out along the edge and see how much space I need in between. So here I've got another plant and root, a separate plant here, some roots, and a big main ball here that I'll keep together. And I don't think I showed you before, but look at the size of the roots on this plant, and these are actually the same kind of roots as on the common comfrey that I'm going to be putting in there. Thick, big roots that you can split and make into separate plants. So out of this I got another plant here, another plant here, and another plant here. Right, let's start spreading them out. This nice big one I want to put here. This nice big one I want to put here. This nice big one and this nice big one. So let's put one here and a big one here. a big root ball here as well. You can go here. Smaller one here. A grouping of smaller ones here, and more groupings. One here, one here, and then I have a lot of roots that I can just place in as well. So now I've placed out my geraniums, I need to get them planted.
This is an amazing moment because I have just doubled the amount of plants I have, and I'm going to have bounds of purple flowers coming up.
So that's my geraniums in around the edge, and they already look fantastic, I think. So now it's time for me to go and get some common comfrey to place in a clump just beside the bench there, I think. So now I have plenty of roots here from the common comfrey. I just need to put those in. These are hardy plants. They will come up very easily. And now I'm thinking of putting them in the corner on the left side of my bench.
The non-self-seeding variety of this plant is Bocking 14.
So that's my common comfrey in now. Now I want to get some bushes that I've been out and bought while I was out raiding the rack and put those into place. And this is quite special because they're bushes that have edible berries and edible parts. So let's have a look at them. So the first plant I bought while I was out raiding the rack is this beautiful plant here. This is the Chinese hawthorn, and these get huge berries on them that are edible and well, taste very good. And they look fantastic when they grow out on these bushes because the normal hawthorn has little red berries and they look absolutely wonderful on that bush. Imagine this bush with huge berries on it. It's absolutely amazing. It's not spiky and it has much bigger, beautiful leaves than the normal hawthorn as well. So I'm going to place a picture just up here so you can see the size of these gorgeous berries on this plant and how wonderful the leaves look. So I'm really going to look forward to seeing this growing out in this border behind me here, where it gets the southern exposure of the sun and hopefully will produce lots of berries in a couple of years. But if we look closer, there are the leaves. Absolutely gorgeous. And I found a berry here actually on the bottom. So if you can see this berry, that is the size of these berries. Really quite big compared to the normal hawthorn. So I can't wait to get this in the ground. Let's get it in the border.
Another really satisfying moment. I really can't wait to see this grow up.
So let's go in for the close-up, and you can hear the horses in the field behind me making lots of noise. So around the edge I have split my Geranium ROZANNE Gerwat, and it is going to look absolutely fabulous next year. Here's the bench, here's some pots, and more of the Geranium ROZANNE Gerwat. Then behind here we have the common comfrey taking up that corner. So they'll fill out beautifully there. Behind the bench I've put my Hylotelephium because the deer like to eat these plants. So I'm hoping that if I put them in the back here, with time they'll be protected with the common comfrey and with the bushes on the side and the salvia that I've put in here. Some there, some here. This is another plant that I went in and split up. Look at these lovely yellow flowers on this plant. So there are 3 root balls there, 2 here, and 2 over on the back side over there. And here is my Chinese hawthorn that I'm really hoping is going to grow up, bush out, and be a lovely tree here with its beautiful big red edible berries on it. And I've thrown a couple of seeds out here from different things, and I just hope this is going to fill out next year, and then I can just keep putting things in as I go along. So of course it looks a bit sparse now, but it's autumn, And these plants are still doing really, really well. So I hope this is all going to work out. And then on the side, on the border here that connects and carries on, are the red valerian. And then I have some broom bushes down here and some grass. And at the front, this lovely lemony smelling plant. And the same thing here. And then I have the apple trees here. 2 green and red and 2 red. If you look here, this one has a lovely red apple on it. This one has a lovely green apple on it. So they're coming up there. That's 4 apple trees on the front side. And then you can see down into Island Garden there, our annex here, tabled there. And how this has just given a little bit more character to the garden now, this new border. And there will probably be more changes coming with time, but a little bit at a time. So if you think when this fills out and the bush fills out, the bench will be around the corner here. So you'll come in and have to go in and around a little bit to be able to go and see the bench, and then the bench will be in a cozy corner with the bushes all around. And the view out to the south and the sun. And of course, the soil will sink a little bit, but it can just be filled up with more organic material as we go along. No problem. So I'm really pleased about the outcome of all this. Over here you can see the pathway that goes out to West Side Garden. And then you come in around the corner to all of this.
So it's another day, another dollar, and I forgot to make an ending to my video. So now I am sitting out here a couple of days later after finishing this border and enjoying the sun that's penetrating through the rain clouds, and there's a little bit of blue sky, and here you get to see a 360-degree view of the whole garden. And then back to this lovely new border here that's going to look spectacular next year. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.